Okay, we there? We there? Okay, looks like we're there. All right, time for some cooking videos. Give everyone a minute to come on in, see if anything's happened in the world. All right, let's get into this. Italian meatballs, but no frying, which is going to...
And it's really the secret to what makes them so tender. So if you're tired of dry meatballs or you've never made meatballs before, you're in the right place. Today, I'm gonna show you how to make tender meatballs just like they make in Italy. And there's a couple key reasons why they're tender, and I'm gonna share that with you today. But the first thing we need to do is make a sauce. So the first thing we'll do is heat up a generous amount of olive oil, and we'll add in a few cloves of garlic. We'll allow the garlic to infuse the oil and build our first level of flavor. It's very important not to burn the garlic here, but once you smell it, you can add in the tomato passata. And tomato passata is pretty much just an unseasoned tomato puree. And this particular one is from Italy. And to contrast the tomato passata, we're gonna add in some whole peeled crushed tomatoes. That's gonna give a little texture to the sauce. There's always a little extra sauce in the jar, so we're gonna add in some water.
With Google Play Games, you can play unlocked. Unlock bigger screens.
We'll seal it up. And we'll shake it up. That way nothing goes to waste. All right, so now we'll mix this up.
Glad to be back.
And we'll start adding in some seasonings. We'll season it up with a little salt,
Okay.
black pepper,
Careful with the salt a little bit, because tomato sauce is salty.
and a lot of fresh basil. And that's really it. So we're just gonna let this simmer now. We're gonna bring it to a boil, and then we'll put it on low. And in the meantime, we'll start making the meatballs. So for the meatballs, we have our meat. I have a pound of 85% lean beef and a half a pound of pork. So we're gonna do a mix of the meats, which will work well together and create a nice texture in the meatballs. I also have a bowl of bread here, which is just some old bread that I removed. I pretty much gutted the bread, and now we're gonna rehydrate it with some whole milk. And if you don't have milk, you could use water, but the milk definitely gives a little more rich flavor. So we're just gonna let this soak over here. Allow the bread to soak up all that milk. And really what this does is it creates tender meatballs. This is one of the secrets to creating a soft, tender meatball. It's also a great way, it's a way that a lot of Italians, they stretch the meat because meat is pretty expensive. So by using something that's cheap like bread or a potato, you could really stretch this and make a whole lot more meatballs. So we're gonna let this rehydrate and soak. I'm gonna set this aside. And we're gonna start adding the other ingredients into here. I have a cup of Parmigiano Reggiano, an egg, a little bit of salt.
Again! Jesus Christ, the Parmigiano Reggiano salty. Your tomato sauce is... God damn.
because the cheese is salty, so we don't want to overdo it. Some black pepper. And we'll freshly grate a garlic clove into here. This will give a little extra flavor without overdoing it. Just a little bit. Now we're going to squeeze out the milk from the bread. We have to squeeze out the milk because then the meatballs are going to be too soft and they're not going to come together. And we'll add it into the mix. I recommend using milk because milk adds like a little richness to the meatballs. But if you don't have milk, you could use water. We'll add this in.
Who the fuck doesn't have milk?
And there's really no order of operations here, so anybody that tells you that you have to add this first or that first, just throw everything into this bowl. It doesn't matter what order, and just get your hands in there and mix it up. And what I like to do is really just squeeze the meat. Just squeeze it, because look, when I squeeze it, you could see like everything is really coming together. You're mixing all the ingredients so that every meatball has a little bit of everything in it. And if you lightly mix this, you're gonna have some meatballs that are overloaded with garlic, some that have a lot of cheese, some that have a lot of bread. But if you really get in here with your hands and squeeze, it'll really come together nicely. And then it'll help you when you're rolling them out. So this is the color you want. It's like a light pink. And now we're just gonna roll them out. So grab little handfuls and...
Okay, here's my problem though. All that fat is gonna leak into your sauce, making your sauce like super fucking greasy. And I just don't know. I always fry them because I like the texture it gives off.
roll them up. And we're just gonna drop them right in the sauce. I mean, it's really easy. So it's definitely like the cheat code to making meatballs. Just roll them and just drop them in. And this is really this is what makes them tender. So we're gonna cook this for like 30-40 minutes. And the meat will just cook perfectly. The sauce is gonna pick up all that great flavor from the meatballs.
And be super fucking
and
greasy.
It's like a 2-for-1 special. So you get good sauce, flavorful sauce, and tender meatballs. And a lot of people say like their grandparents or their parents make the best meatballs. And I think it's partly like a good meatball, and then also like the experience of having meatballs with your family. So I think they're not lying. Their grandparents do make the best meatballs because it's like a whole package deal. It's a good meatball and it's a good family experience. So today you're going to learn how to make good meatballs.
I tend to agree, fat is flavor,
and all you have to do is really just get your family together, and you can make some good experiences. And Sundays, a lot of people say, you know, Sundays, meatballs. I mean, Sundays really are all about slowing.
All right, blah, blah, blah. Let's see these when they're done. Well, they stayed together, so... There's Lego competitions.
So let's get these meatballs on a plate, and I'll show you how tender they are. And in Italy, they usually serve meatballs on the side. They're a secondo. They're not served with pasta. They're usually a second course.
Why the hell not?
So that's kind of what we're doing today. I usually serve the meatballs with some bread. I feel like bread is a must. Top this off with a little more sauce. All right, so now we'll show you.
All right. Well, okay. I'll give him this. His meatballs look nice and tender, and they appear to be cooked through. All right, next. Okay. Eating these meals meant you were poor in the 1990s. I grew up in the 90s. I didn't grow up poor. Was middle to upper middle class. But if something's delicious, something's delicious.
Tell the story of an entire era? The 1990s were a time of big hair, grunge music, and yes, even
Nirvana was closer to the fucking 80s.
even a specific kind of food that marked a certain way of living. Back then, eating these dishes wasn't about gourmet cuisine or fine dining. Instead, it was about making do with what you had, stretching every dollar and finding comfort in meals that were humble, sometimes downright bizarre, but always memorable. This video is not just a list of foods, it's a journey back to an era where every meal had a story. So, buckle up and get ready to dive into the culinary past.
And much like today, we don't give a fuck about the story.
Slumgullion, also called poor man's stew. Slumgullion is really just what I would call improv work at its best. It's something that's arguably been around since the 1800s, but it only reared its head around the 90s in a way that made it a kitchen staple for many working-class families. In those days when every dollar counted...
Okay, first off, the 90s was a time of pretty good economic prosperity. Second off, just seems like something you'd throw together when you're trying to get rid of fucking leftovers.
Slumgullion was the go-to stew made from whatever was left in the pantry. Picture a large pot on a battered stove, canned tomatoes, a few noodles, some chopped up vegetables, and a mystery protein thrown in for good measure. There wasn't a recipe.
Yeah, basically it's like, oh, we had chicken whatever last night.
That you followed to the letter. Each cook improvised, turning leftovers into a hearty meal that fed the whole family. It was a dish that celebrated resourcefulness. The beauty of Slumgullion was in its unpredictability. One night it might taste tangy with a burst of tomato, and the next it would be a bit bland, reminding everyone that sometimes survival meant accepting whatever came your way. In a sense, every bowl of Slumgullion was a reminder that even in tough times, you could create something satisfying with just a few ingredients and a lot of heart. Salisbury steak. Salisbury steak in the 90s wasn't the polished dish you'd see on a restaurant menu, it was the budget-friendly version that many families learned to love. Imagine a homemade
It's a fucking burger with gravy on it! Who doesn't love burgers?
patty made from ground meat mixed with breadcrumbs, onions, and a few secret spices that gave it a hint of something special. These patties were often pan-fried in a splash of oil and then simmered in a thick, savory gravy made from bouillon cubes and a dash of ketchup. While it might have looked a far cry from the gourmet steaks served in upscale eateries, it was hearty, filling, and comforting.
And was fucking delicious!
For many, eating Salisbury steak was a weekly ritual, a signal that the week's hardships were met with a meal that brought everyone together around the dinner table. It was more than just food, it was a slice of life in the 90s, where every bite reminded you of perseverance and the small victories that came from stretching a meal until it felt like a feast. Cabbage and noodles. Cabbage and noodles might seem like a simple, almost plain dish, but in the 1990s it was a testament to making the most out of modest.
And that wasn't the cheapest spaghetti dish you could make. Alright, skip.
And satisfying. Every forkful of cabbage and noodles carried the weight of many memories. Shared dinners with... Think again. In the 90s poor household kitchen, Tornado's Rossini was reimagined on a tight budget. Instead of expensive cuts of meat, families would use the most affordable ground beef and a few scraps of what could pass as luxury. It was an exercise in irony, a nod to a dish that was...
So, essentially, it's another burger.
Culinary ingenuity could transform even the simplest ingredients into something memorable. Pasta with mayo and peas. Pasta with...
Also known as macaroni salad, also known as noodle salad, also known as served at every fucking cookout on the planet.
With mayo and peas is one of those dishes that might raise an eyebrow if mentioned today, but back in the 90s it was a creative way to combine pantry staples into a filling meal. It started...
It's served as a side at literally every goddamn 4th of July cookout on the planet.
Started with overcooked pasta tossed with a generous dollop of mayonnaise and a handful of canned peas. It might sound like an odd
Although I don't put peas in mine. Peas are disgusting.
pairing, but for many kids coming home from school, it was a welcome break from the same old lunches. The creamy texture...
Next.
that only those who grew up in that era could fully appreciate.
Yeah, it's not like you can't buy it from your local deli at your local grocery store right fucking now.
Spam musubi. Spam musubi is a dish that many of us remember with a mix of nostalgia and amusement. Originally a snack from the Pacific Islands, it found its way into the kitchens of the 1990s as an affordable, no-fuss meal. The basic idea was to take slices of Spam, fry them until crisp, and then place them on top of a block of rice, all bound together with a strip of seaweed. For many families, Spam musubi was more than just a meal. It was a symbol of making do with what was available.
Yeah. That seaweed is just readily available. You can find that shit anywhere.
The saltiness of the Spam, the simplicity of the rice, and the umami kick from the seaweed combined to create a dish.
Okay. Next.
That reminded everyone that even when ingredients were limited, creativity could turn them into something worth savoring. Chitlins. Chitlins, pork intestines that have long been a part of soul food and
Alright, yeah, those are pretty fucking gross.
rural cuisine, carried a reputation in the 90s, sparking conversation, laughter, and sometimes even a bit of friendly debate over who could handle the bold flavors. In the 1990s, serving chitlins was like handing down a secret recipe, one that was as much about cultural heritage as it was about surviving tough economic times.
I haven't been to the grocery store in months because this delivery service offers hundreds of high-quality
Fish sticks. Fish sticks were the unsung heroes of many a 1990s
Fish sticks are still readily available today. What the hell are you talking about? Every kid had fish sticks.
freezer. Affordable, convenient, and surprisingly tasty when paired with a side of mashed potatoes or a drizzle of tartar sauce, representing the ingenuity of turning simple ingredients into a meal that, while far from fancy, was always just right. Duck à l'orange. Duck à l'orange might sound like a dish reserved for fine dining, but in the 90s it took on a life of its own in many budget kitchens. Rather than purchasing expensive duck and crafting a complex citrusy sauce, many families opted for a clever workaround. They'd use the cheapest cuts available and substitute fresh oranges with canned juice, mixing in a bit of sugar and vinegar to replicate the classic flavor profile. This version of duck à l'orange wasn't as refined as its French counterpart,
And you still using a duck, one of the most expensive pieces of poultry in the grocery store.
but it carried a certain rebellious spirit, a nod to the idea that you could still enjoy a dish with a fancy name even if you were pinching pennies. It became a sort of culinary inside joke, a way to pretend that you had a taste for the finer things in life, even when reality dictated otherwise. In every bite, there was a blend of humor, resourcefulness, and the bittersweet reality of making the best out of less than ideal ingredients. Hot dog hash. Hot dog hash was a staple
Okay,
for
this one I've never heard of.
many families who needed a filling meal fast. The recipe was as straightforward as it could get. Chop up hot dogs, mix them with diced potatoes and onions, and fry everything together until it was golden and crispy. This dish was the ultimate expression of 1990s frugality, transforming a simple hot dog into a hearty breakfast
And not the healthiest thing on the planet.
or dinner that could feed a family on a tight budget. The sizzle of the pan, the aroma of sizzling onions,
Right.
potted meat, a spreadable canned meat product,
Okay, yeah, that's fucking gross. If you ate that, you weren't poor or anything. You just had no fucking taste buds.
little bit of meat, however processed, was enough to keep hunger at bay. Frito pie is one of those dishes that might can into a symbol of endurance, and the ability to pie is one of those. In the 90s, it was a favorite among families looking for a quick, filling meal that didn't break the bank. The dish was built around a simple base, a bag of Fritos, which were then loaded with chili, cheese, and sometimes a
Yeah, Frito pie is still a thing.
dollop of sour cream. The combination of the crispy corn chips with the rich, savory chili created a texture and flavor that was both satisfying and utterly unique. It was a meal that could be whipped up in minutes and shared among siblings or friends gathered around the TV. Frito pie captured the essence of making do, using what was readily available to craft something that was more than the sum of its parts. It wasn't gourmet by any stretch, but it was a beloved treat that brought comfort and a bit of indulgence during lean times. Hot Pockets. Hot Pockets became synonymous with convenience in the 1990s.
Yeah, they tasted like shit then, they taste like shit now.
These microwavable treats were the epitome of a quick fix, a ready-made snack or meal that required minimal preparation. Whether it was for a rushed lunch before class or a late-night bite while watching your favorite show, Hot Pockets filled the role of a culinary lifesaver. Despite their reputation for being a bit on the processed side, they carried a nostalgic charm. Each Hot Pocket was a mystery until you bit in. A mix of melted
and then scalded your fucking mouth.
cheese, processed meat, and a crispy outer shell that somehow made the whole experience feel indulgent. For many, they were the go-to meal when creativity in the kitchen was in short supply. Eating a Hot Pocket in the 90s was more than just grabbing a snack. It was a testament to the era's fast-paced life, and the bagel bites were the ultimate mini pizza.
Oh, for Christ's sakes, bagel bites are still around and kids still enjoy them.
And in the 90s, they quickly became a favorite among kids and teens alike. These bite-sized treats featured a bagel base topped with a layer of tomato. Meal was an adventure. Cracker Crust Pizza. Cracker Crust Pizza was a low-cost innovation that turned ordinary crackers into the base of a makeshift pizza. In kitchens where funds were tight, using crackers instead of dough saved money while still satisfying.
How the hell could using crackers be less expensive than making dough?
That craving for a slice of something cheesy and delicious. The process was simple. Layer a handful of crackers with a spread of tomato sauce, sprinkle on some shredded cheese, and if you were lucky, add a few pepperoni slices or bits of leftover vegetables. Baked until the cheese melted and the crackers softened just enough, this dish became an unexpected hit at family gatherings and impromptu snack times. It was a perfect example of how creativity could transform everyday items into a meal that felt both fun and fulfilling. Cracker Crust Pizza was more than just a culinary.
Again, I remind you, pizza dough is literally flour, a bit of salt, some sugar, 2 packets of yeast, and water. That's it.
Shortcut. It was a symbol of the 90s resourcefulness that turned basic ingredients into a shared moment of joy around the dinner table. Spaghetti Frittata. Spaghetti frittata took two seemingly incompatible foods and blended them into one surprisingly satisfying dish. In many 90s households, leftover spaghetti wasn't wasted. Instead, it was mixed with eggs, a bit of cheese, and sometimes a dash of hot sauce, then pan-fried into a thick, hearty frittata. This dish was a brilliant stroke of culinary genius, a way to reinvent yesterday's pasta into today's breakfast or dinner. The crispy edges and soft center made every bite a reminder that even leftovers could be reborn into something exciting and new. For many, spaghetti frittata was a comforting meal that transformed the mundane into the memorable. It was an ode to the idea that when resources were scarce, ingenuity was plentiful, and every meal was a chance to rewrite the rules of cooking. Minted lamb with jelly. At first glance, minted lamb with jelly might sound like a dish reserved for upscale dining, but in the 90s it was reinterpreted in kitchens where extravagance was a luxury. Using the cheapest.
Yet you still bought lamb, one of the most expensive meats in most grocery stores.
Cuts of lamb available, home cooks would season the meat with a blend of mint and other herbs, then serve it with a dollop of jelly, often grape or even an experimental mix of store-brand preserves, to mimic the tang and richness of a more refined sauce. This dish was a playful twist on what was traditionally an elegant meal. It was a culinary gamble that paid off with a burst of unexpected flavor and a hearty satisfaction. Every bite of minted lamb with jelly was a reminder that even when your ingredients were modest, you could still dare to dream of a meal that was both inventive and steeped in tradition. It was a dish that challenged expectations and celebrated the to create something both crunchy and refreshing. The salad was built on a bed of iceberg lettuce, loaded with bits of seasoned ground beef, shredded cheese, tomatoes, and a generous scoop of crushed tortilla chips. A drizzle of salsa or a squirt of ranch dressing completed the ensemble. For many families, taco salad wasn't just a meal, it was a celebration of the idea that fast food could be transformed from items into a flavorful meal. In a time full of personality. Canned sardine fried rice. Canned sardine fried rice was a dish that embodied the art of turning the simplest pantry items into a.
All right, I've had enough of this. Now I'm gonna take a look at the guy. Ugh, excuse me. The guy, I don't know, doing something in Amsterdam.
Boat's the famous Amsterdam pancake boat, a boat which serves unlimited pancakes.
We have a new record of pancakes, 22 pancakes in 75 minutes.
It's the day after the pancake boat experience, and I thought that was it for filming in Amsterdam, but we discovered last night, as a result of somebody's very kind message on Instagram, forgotten their name, but there is one more food challenge in Amsterdam which I've not completed. So this place, Coco's Outback. This is what I'm going to go at today. I don't know if you can see that. It's a burger challenge called Coco's Outback's Burger Challenge, and you have to finish it all in 30 minutes. If you succeed, it's free. You get a spot in the Wall of Fame and a t-shirt. If not, 50 euros. Forest Man City's on. It's obviously some type of sports bar. There's a bit of a red hue in here, which ordinarily I wouldn't mind, but in Amsterdam that could be a little confusing. People knocking on the window thinking it's something other than a restaurant / sports bar. Watch out. No worries. We're totally in the way here. Let's get out of the way. I need a wee.
I'll be back.
You know, actually, you're the second famous person we had. Yeah.
I'm the second most famous person.
Most famous person we've had at Coco's.
Yeah.
Number one was Sting.
Sting?
Sting, yeah. Sting was on our terrace having a couple of drinks, and now you're here taking the food challenge. So, our Outback Challenge.
All right. Has anyone finished it? Yeah.
No one has actually completed it yet.
A guy down there told me that he'd done one of the monster patties in a burger, and that's about all he could do.
Yes, you got 30 minutes. You got to eat everything, sauce not included. Giant patty ×3. Jalapenos, sun-dried tomatoes, our old Dutch cheese, and bacon. You ready? 3, 2, 1, off you go.
Who's gonna? The mustard's keen. Just get stuck in the burger. Those are some substantial patties. Good, cheesy. The patties are delicious. They're really good.
You can get Adam a thesaurus for Christmas.
A thesaurus?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just to see if we can extend his vocabulary. I believe he's got a degree in English literature. He just chooses delicious on every shoot, ever.
One patty down, 2 to go.
Well, there's no need for that.
Yeah, I might try one.
Yeah?
Yeah, I might give it a shot. Yeah.
I need to see this now, man. I need to see it.
I won't get the dessert though.
Whoa.
Fries are fucking huge. The burger is...
Just in case.
5. Let's try another one of these incredibly flavorful patties. Is that better than delicious? You can actually see the bacon and sun-dried tomatoes inside the burger.
I might have to steal that.
I couldn't believe it when I seen you. I was like, what the My grandma, yeah. Here, it's just for the setting, boy.
You can always trust an Irish person to lend character and entertainment to a video.
Yeah.
This poor kid's got so much meat now. So what I'm getting by my culinary experience here in Amsterdam is that ketchup is not usual for chips. What time are we at?
10 minutes, 15 seconds.
Oh, we can. I made the mistake of trying to be a bit of a big shot and saying, oh, I don't need cutlery. But now I've realised that you don't eat coleslaw with your hands, do you? Let's do this final patty.
I did coleslaw with my hands. Don't you tell me what to do.
I realise this isn't particularly nice to look at, but I'm just filming the dog here. It's coming over now. Yeah, don't get too close. Still gonna be hungry after this. I'm sorry about it.
Dude, was this guy born with like 3 stomachs?
Can one of you be useful and get me some cutlery? Oh, thank you. Those burger patties were a bit special. Lots of cheese in there.
How you looking? Halfway down, just over halfway? Ah, easy. You never know. That bit of Holland is sneaky.
The coleslaw is very good. Creamy, a little bit fruity. I think I'm getting hints of blackcurrant in there somewhere. Got better. Starting to fill up now because there's a rugby game on apparently. I don't know who. I can't tell if these people are actually watching or if they're just scared to walk by because of all the equipment.
We're 18, just over 18 minutes in, so
right,
looking strong. Basically, it's like a beef ragu.
Say no more.
Yeah.
Say no more, fam. That's good. That is yummy.
Yeah, they're very good. Very, very good.
Yeah, for sure. It's like a cheesy, some type of cheesy bowl. All right, this is Baby's food, and that was Coco's Outback's Giant Burger Challenge. Just about beaten.
Yes.
It's kind of like bulimic or something.
Delicious, mate. That was really, really nice.
And smashed it. 20 minutes.
Do you have any desserts?
We don't, unfortunately.
Mama!
All right, so as promised, we got the t-shirt.
Yeah?
And then the famous, this will be the singlet for you. You can go pour yourself a beer now.
Oh, thank you. Maybe I'll do that, actually. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Thanks, brother.
I want to get dessert now. They have no dessert on the menu? Just like a bakery or something. Not one of those bakeries. Made that mistake before. I think he's been on some of those baked goods. You reckon?
All right, looks like you won the challenge. Let's see. Let's do this easy Meatloaf thing.
Hey, I'm John Cannell, and today on Preppy Kitchen we're making an easy, delicious meatloaf. So let's get started. First off, preheat your oven to 350 so it's nice and hot, and now we're gonna do the tiniest bit of prep work. Grab 1 medium onion. We want about a cup of finely chopped onion here. This recipe can be traced all the way back to ancient Rome, but this is something I would consider an American classic, especially the way we're gonna make it, and yes, there is ketchup involved. My mom used to make meatloaf fairly often. It was like in our family dinner rotation, and I can see why. It's easy, it's satisfying, and it is so fast to make. Get a nice fine chop on that onion. I also have 3 cloves of garlic here. You could mince these. I'm just gonna use a garlic press because this is a quick and easy recipe, and that's the fastest thing to do. Grab a medium skillet. You're gonna pop that over medium heat.
I like this guy's oven.
Add a tablespoon of olive oil and wait for it to get nice and hot and shimmering in the pan. And by the way, if you're like, ugh, I don't want to do any chopping whatsoever, you could sub in a teaspoon or so of onion powder and garlic powder and call it a day. That's if you're really busy. The oil's nice and hot, so grab your onions and pop them in. We're adding half a teaspoon of salt. And if you notice your onions are getting too dark, maybe things got a little bit too hot, just add a bit of water in. It'll deglaze the pan, and it'll also help steam the onions and cook them faster. That's a trick I do when I've been super busy in the kitchen or the kids are asking me questions and I come back and the onions are on the cusp of burning. Just add some water and it kind of reverses it, but helps them cook faster. By the way, if you like my videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. There's 2 new recipes and shorts every single week. It's been a few minutes. These onions are softened and taking on some color, so add the garlic in. Cook this for another minute so the garlic gets nice and fragrant, but make sure it doesn't burn, so stir continually. Took on some color, it's nice and softened, it smells delicious. I'm gonna take this off heat. Right now it's time to transfer this over into a large bowl. This needs to cool down until it's just warm, so spread it out into that bowl so it cools down really fast. It could take up to 15 minutes. You could pop this into the fridge if you're in a hurry. And as soon as it's warm, we'll be right back. Once your onions have cooled down, and I did pop these into the fridge because nobody wants to wait around for nothing, we're gonna add in 2 pounds of ground beef, and this is a 90-10 mixture. I think it works best. To hold things together, 2 large eggs.
I go with 80-20, but I just buy a Meatloaf pan.
It's funny, like this is very similar to how I make turkey patties. I don't think turkey meat tastes great, but my family really likes it, so I zazz it up with sauteed onions, garlic, lemon zest, some herbs, panko breadcrumbs, and egg. It's very similar. 1 teaspoon of salt, sprinkle that all over. 1/3 of a cup of milk. The milk really moistens things up, so don't skip it. You do not want a dry meatloaf, do you? Listen to that. Nice. 3/4 of a cup of panko breadcrumbs. I love these for the texture. And if you want to make this gluten-free, you could use a gluten-free panko. 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, and if you're not a fan of Italian seasoning, you could use thyme, rosemary, any of your favorite herbs, and yes, you could use fresh chopped herbs in this as well. 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire, a little extra blessing. I also want 2 tablespoons of ketchup, and 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. This has to get mixed together. You can use whatever you want, including your clean hands, to do this. One note though is you want this to be well mixed and combined, but don't go to town on it. It shouldn't be over mixed because that'll make it dense. It'll lose its lightness and pleasant texture. So I'm just giving it a good mix and breaking up any clumps of meat and also finding the pockets of egg and breadcrumbs and onions and distributing those. I'm almost done. Grab a sheet pan, this could be 1/4 or 1/2, line it with foil and give it a light coating of oil so nothing sticks. Transfer.
Why wouldn't you just spend $12 on a meatloaf pan?
Your meatloaf right onto that prepared sheet. And now it's probably time to use your clean hands. You want to shape this into an 8 by 4 inch loaf that's 2 inches tall. This job is much easier if you wet your hands because things stick to them less. So a little dampness, get to shaping. If you don't,
dude, oh, maybe it'll stick together, but good chance that's gonna collapse.
Want to do the hand shaping, that's fine. Grab a 9 by 5 inch loaf pan, grease it, pop this in and bake it at 375 for 40 minutes. Then brush with half the sauce and return for 20 minutes. This looks like a lovely loaf and it's ready to go into the oven as soon as I wash my hands. My meatloaf is ready to go into the oven, 350 for 30 minutes. In the meantime, we're gonna make the sauce. Then it comes out, we'll brush it with the sauce and bake it some more. In you go. While your meatloaf bakes, we're gonna make the sauce, and it starts off with 6 tablespoons or 100 grams of ketchup. 1 tablespoon of packed brown sugar, and then a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. This, I would say, is a classic meatloaf topping. When my mom made meatloaf, she just used barbecue sauce. So feel free to grab your favorite barbecue sauce out of the fridge or off the grocery store aisle and use that if you prefer. If you want to serve your meatloaf with extra,
or take 10 minutes and make it yourself,
extra sauce dripping over, just double the recipe. Really easy. Give it a good stir, and it's done. It's that easy. My meatloaf baked for 30 minutes, and now we're gonna grab half of the sauce and just brush that over the top and the sides, all over. This will protect your meatloaf from drying out and give it some more flavor. Feel free to add your favorite flavors to the sauce too.
I hate to say this, the 90-10 burger did that.
A teaspoon or so of onion powder, garlic powder, use your favorites and make this your own. My meatloaf is ready to go back into the oven for 20 to 25 minutes or until the internal temp hits 160. In you go. Once out of the oven, transfer to a serving dish, garnish, and cover with the remaining sauce. Your meatloaf will last for 4 to 5 days in the fridge. Just wrap it tightly in plastic. Or you can freeze it for up to 3 months. Allow the meatloaf to rest for about 10 minutes before slicing, and just like that, it's ready to enjoy.
It looks pretty good. All right. This is from some restaurant.
2 healthy scoops of sauerkraut, their caramelized hot onions, relish, 2 seedless hot cherry peppers. Then those 2 grilled hot dogs get sliced in the freaking meat slicer. They slam it on the plate. They grab some fresh pastrami, slice that in the meat slicer, and pile it on top of those sliced hot dogs. A warmed up whole wheat wrap gets spread with their Russian dressing. It all slides right on there. They wrap it up way better than I ever could. Slice it up, and there you have it. The secret menu Devour Heartburn wrap with a side of Russian dressing to dip for that perfect first bite. Cheers. This is from Lido Kosher Deli in Long Beach, New York.
Yeah, I would say that's the heartburn wrap.
We're making Creole jambalaya, a tomato-tinted, smoky, savory one-pot rice dish that blends cultures and flavors. We start with the sausages. Low heat, traditionally lard, bacon drippings, or neutral oil, but you have the option to let them go in dry for the around 20% fat of our andouille to soften. Then the signature smoky fat starts to flow into our pot, browning the sausages, developing complex flavors, concentrating the garlic heat, the cayenne warmth, taking on the deep color from the paprika.
Gotta get another beer.
If you don't have access to andouille, the overriding objective here is smokiness. So use any smoked sausage and adjust the fat accordingly. Once you can see bronze around the edges, andouille comes out. With the spices out of the way, we crank up the heat further. Chicken goes in. First, to rapidly evaporate its surface moisture. Then, once we get past boiling point, we once again develop complex, meaty flavors via the Maillard reaction, and later roasted nutty notes thanks to caramelization. Because of the low heat start, they might stick a bit. Even better, we get concentrated forms of the 2 things we just mentioned to be mopped up later by our aromatics. And because of the fat and the surface moisture we talked about, the order of these 2 going in makes a massive difference. We're using chicken thighs as they can take on higher heat and longer cooking. Boneless because of the cooking time.
Fat.
Skinless for better fat control. If you want to use chicken breast, cook them whole and cut them up later. Very good. Once they're lightly golden, they come out. You want to preserve the fond and not burn it. And to mop up this beauty, we introduce the Holy Trinity. Onion to form our savory base
Onion,
and
celery,
provide some
pepper.
subtle sweetness. Celery for some herbal note. And green bell pepper, which after long cooking will give us some earthy sweetness. We salt, bearing in mind the andouille is salty. Unlike the Cajun version, we're not browning this hard. We simply want it to first release some moisture to help us lift our fond. Then we evaporate that moisture to concentrate the flavors we just mentioned. Once there's not much steam coming out and you pretty much have a clean bottom, garlic goes in.
I did actually have a long day at work.
Even more umami goes in later, so the sugar content does not burn. Once the garlic's fragrant and you can almost see a thin layer of fat, cayenne goes in for some sharp heat and bright red color. Deviation from the classics, bay leaf goes in slightly earlier to activate its fat-soluble flavors, the eucalyptus, minty notes, and later some gentle bitterness following the
And this guy, for whatever reason, is putting me the fuck to sleep.
same logic. Dry thyme goes into bloom for the earthy, resinous aroma. If you're using fresh thyme, add it later, as it can be quite heat sensitive. We're keeping the seasoning simple, but you can use whatever you like. On that note, black pepper for some earthy heat, and the only seasoning besides salt in 1885. Now the Creole saffron, historically fresh tomatoes, out of season, we use tinned, which became popular in the 50s. You can add as much or as little as you like. For me, this remains a meat and rice dish. The tomato is there to provide a bit of acidity, a bit of umami, some subtle sweetness, but most importantly, the color, which is largely fat salt.
Be right back. Somebody's at the door. Okay, right back.
So we give it some face time with our yummy fat. Another reason to cook down the tomato is the rice. Just like a plof or paella, you want our smoky fat to coat each grain of rice to modulate starch release.
All right, I can't deal with this guy's fucking voice is driving me nuts.
Bonjour, Paris.
Bonjour, mademoiselle.
Bonjour, Mr. Mademoiselle.
Earn rewards wherever you book travel. The Autograph Journey credit card from Wells Fargo. Terms apply.
Not again.
Your cold is coming! Your cold is coming!
Thanks, Revere.
We really need to keep Zycam in the house.
Only if you want to shorten your cold. When you feel a cold coming, shorten it with Zycam.
Texas. Now, the #1 meat that is used for street tacos here in South Texas is beefsteak. Now, beefsteak is basically a translation for beef steak. In general, that can be either a chuck, it can be a sirloin, it can be pretty much any cut of meat, but here in the valley, it's mostly chuck or sirloin, depending on which taqueria you go to. That way they can cook them to order, make them really quick, and get them onto the customer's table ASAP. We're gonna be using cilantro, a squeeze of lime, you can never forget that, diced onions and sauteed onions, and the small street taco style corn tortillas. We like the yellow. Of course, you can't get street tacos without both red and green salsas. Now, I'm in the Rio Grande Valley. They may be a little different in El Paso. They may be a little different in San Antonio. They may be a little different further west. Keep that in mind, friends. What we're sharing with you is what we know how to do here in South Texas. Let's get started and make some street tacos.
Oh, God, YouTube.
Friends. Remember, these taquitos are kind of small, so you want the onion to be kind of diced.
Yeah, but do you really think if Reese Witherspoon is in Paris, she's going anywhere near the shitty parts? She's still going into the touristy trap parts.
Pretty fine as well. Okay, I'll dice this one a little smaller. We have the diced onion ready to go. Let's get the longer strips, the longer fajitas, the longer onion fajitas. I mean, they're strips, right? So we can call them onion fajitas. Does that make sense? I mean, if any cut of meat cut into strips is a fajita, if we cut the onion into strips, can we call it an onion fajita? Why not? I beg to differ. All right, friends, let me show you how thin these steaks are usually cut. So there you see, that's basically a bistec steak. Again, it's from the chuck. I'm gonna cut this fat off because we don't need it. For the purpose of this video, I'm gonna cut this excess fat off on the outside. So generally today, the taquerias that sell a lot of steaks, you know, some of these places will serve 300 people at a time during a dinner rush. They actually buy it already pre-cut. So then all they do is throw it onto the hot griddle, give it a quick little stir, flippity flip it back and forth, get it nice and seared. Into the taco it goes and onto the customer's plate. But in the past, before we had all this great technology and companies that will cut it for you and deliver it pre-cut, they would actually buy the whole roll and then they would cut it into steak, sear the whole steak the way we're gonna do today. After it's cooked, they'll cut it all up and throw it into the tacos. So let's get started cooking. All right, let's spread some of that oil around. Ooh, I love that sizzle. Check it out. Hey, don't get away. You're not allowed to jump out. Now we're sizzling. So we want to saute these onions first. We want them to get nice, soft, and translucent. They smell so good. It smells so good. If we had smell-o-vision, we would definitely send it your way and include it with every video. Come on, Elon Musk. You're the only guy that can create it. Probably. All right, some of these onions are done, so I'm just gonna slide them on over to one of our little plates here. Don't wanna overcook them. They're just nice and translucent and got a nice little light char on them. That's great. These need a little bit more time, so I'm gonna leave them a little bit longer. Now I'm just as hungry as you all watching this video, but before making this huge platon of tacos de bistec, I just wanna take a quick moment to talk a bit about today's
sponsors.
All right, we're gonna use some seasoning on here. You guys can use whatever you like. We're using the Wow. All right. Whew, that smells good. Good. It's trying to curl up on me, so I'm gonna use my made-in griddle press. Kind of flatten that out. Ooh, that smells good. And it sounds delicious. All right, let's flippity flip these. Ooh, yeah. Let's flippity flip this one. Ooh, that looks gorgeous. Look at that, huh? Flippity flip this one.
All right, careful, because even though it's chuck and it's got a ton of fat, chuck can get tougher than fucking...
All right, look at that. Looking good. Y'all see how good that looks? That looks awesome. Nice and charred. It's not burnt, it's not too overcooked, it's just right. I'm gonna put them right here on this little foil pan, and we're gonna make one more. Put this grill press on here so they don't curl up too much. And press this one down too. We get that nice Maillard reaction. It gives an awesome flavor. Don't forget to put a little seasoning on them. Kind of loosen that guy up a little bit. This meat, like all meats, is releasing quite a bit of water. That's just the nature of the beast and a little bit of oil. Check this out. This is what you're looking for, a nice, pretty sear on your meat. We're gonna pull that one out, and we gotta do a little quality control taste test.
Hey.
Ooh, that's good. This is the other way you would do them. Just lay all that diced up, chopped up meat onto your griddle. Make sure you have a little bit of oil.
See, now for me, I prefer, well, okay. For tacos, I prefer ground beef. Or, yeah, I just prefer ground beef.
Your griddle doesn't have to be excessive, but you do need some, for sure. Spread your meat out, spread it around. It'll start coming apart here in a little while. And make sure you don't forget to season it with your favorite seasoning. Then just basically saute it, stir fry it onto the griddle. The made-in griddle doesn't care if it's a steak or if it's chopped up. It's gonna cook it. And just like that, we did all that meat. Good stuff. Needs a little bit more seasoning. We're done. Let's get all this meat out of here and put it into this little pan. It's time to lay down some delicious yellow corn tortillas onto the grill here. Now you do need to have some oil on there for them to be true street tacos. You just want a little bit of oil. You don't want to toast them, overcook them. You just want to get a little oil on there. That softens them up. So this is going to the plate. This one looks like it's almost ready. Let's go ahead and chop up the beefsteak and get started on our street tacos and chow down. Continue to slice up all this meat, dice it all up.
See, that's the problem. That steak looks well done and cooked to fuck. I love this guy, don't get me wrong, but...
Just chop it up nice and fine so you can lay it into those small corn tortillas and stuff it really good. This is basically what they do at the taqueria. When they cook the whole steak, they chop it all up real fine, just like this. See how nice that is? There you go. We're ready to make some tacos with this meat here. We're gonna take our first tortilla and stuff it with a little bit of meat. I got me a nice big spoon to get the job done like that. I'm gonna put it up against my potato so it doesn't flop all over for me. We're gonna put plenty of meat. Now, depending on which taqueria you go to, you might get 3 tacos. Around here, they're usually a combo of sorts where you get a potato like we're doing here today. Sometimes you get 5. These are very small tacos, so trust me, it's not hard to eat 5 or 6. Some places do have as many as 6. I'm gonna do a couple more because it's not just me, I'm also serving my wife. Happy wife, happy home, right? All right, one more thing that you usually always get with your taqueria, especially if you buy the combo, you get a steaming cup of beans. It might come in a little bowl, it may come in a cup like this. Then you also get some chopped up cilantro that you can use to garnish your plate. And generally, thank you very much, Arnulfo. Cut is right, either volada. Porque...
Fancy Feast Gems. Turn the everyday into the extraordinary.
And when you get iPhone 17...
But generally, you're going to get your taco, start with one, and you pretty much use your fingers or a spoon or a fork, get some onions, squeeze a lime, and then a little squirt of salsa. What I always do is I have one taco with red salsa, one with green, to see which one I like the best. Usually I can't decide, so I wind up using both salsas. I'm gonna move this to the side because this is gonna be messy. It's kind of like eating ribs. It's always messy.
That is true.
Wowza.
If you're eating ribs clean, you're eating them wrong.
All right, now let's try the green salsa. That is so, so good. So generally, a couple of tacos, a little taste of the beans. And they're hot. Gosh, they're delicious though. Some taquerias are gonna serve it to you charro bean styles. A lot of them have their own little spice blend that they put into them or their own secret recipes. These beans are not so secret recipe because we've already shared it with you guys. Then, when you also get a combo, it usually comes with a drink too and a baked potato. And on here we have...
That's the one that perplexes me. I'm with you on everything, but the baked potato?
Cheese, a little bit of butter, a little bit of sour cream, a little salt, pepper, garlic in there. Oh man, that's good. Ooh, baby, that's a good potato, hon. All right, friends, I'm about ready to wrap this up. But before I do, I have to do both salsas, like I said. The red and the green. Cheers, my friends. The red salsa has a little more bite, so I'm gonna put a little bit more of this one on there. What'll make street tacos better? 1 good Dos Equis, or 5.
I love Dos Equis.
That's so good. All right, friends, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the video before my food gets too cold. Taqueria style street tacos are amazing. They're delicious. I hope you guys try them. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and hit the like button. Thank you so much for following. Thank you so much for sharing our videos and all the great comments and the messages. If you're interested in our APC barbecue.
All right. Let's go. All right, let's do this. My fuck, I can't talk. My bolognese is better than grandma's. All right, you've just challenged an entire nation's grandmas. You better be good.
Steam a whole lot more than just whole milk. With the Espresso Collection by KitchenAid.
Bonjour. Nous sommes ravis de vous accueillir de nouveau dans notre hôtel. Votre chambre est prête pour votre séjour.
Oui.
Earn rewards wherever you book travel. The Autograph Journey credit card from Wells Fargo. Terms apply.
Ragu alla bolognese is an absolute essential sauce for pasta or lasagna in just about every Italian household out there. Now, every house may have their own take on it with slight variations, but all are ridiculously delicious. I'm going to use a few classic cooking techniques to try and pull out as much flavor as I can to make an insanely tasty ragu that I know my family's going to love. We're going to start off by knocking out some prep. Sound good? Let's cook. All right, my homies, I have a 2-pound cut of beef chuck. This comes from the upper shoulder into the lower neck area of the cow. It has wonderful beef flavor, and what I'm looking for from the grocery store when I purchase it is that it is bright red in color, no discoloration anywhere, has wonderful intermuscular fat, and a nice
Discoloration can mean a lot of things, not necessarily that it's bad.
fat cap on the outside and running through the center. Other great options are brisket or short ribs. All right, let's go.
When I worked at the grocery store, every so often I'd have some fucking old person go, "You put old burger inside of the new burger." I'm like, no, that beef just hasn't oxygenated yet. How the realistically, it would take me more work to, with every package of hamburger I make, I'd have to wrap old beef inside, wrap it up like a fucking calzone. I have watched his video several times.
Cut this thing up, paging Dr. Chef Parisi. He is in the house. Now what we're going to do is remove it from the plate onto the cutting board. I want to start by removing any of that stringy fat known as caul fat. It doesn't cook down really well, so we're just going to trim that off. Now, it's time to finely mince the beef. And there's no perfect way to do this, but how I do it is start by thinly slicing it, then taking those thinly slices and sort of julienning it, and then turning it again and finally mincing it as best as I can.
Okay, you can grind beef this... Well, technically it's not grinding. But really, my favorite two ways is either bust the meat grinder out, or you can use a food processor.
And if you happen to find any more of that caul fat while mincing it, be sure to remove it. Then I run my knife over it again 1 to 2 more times till essentially it resembles ground beef. Instead, though, they are small, fine mince
Or I would just buy a pack of ground beef.
pieces. We're going to set those to the side, give the cutting board a quick rinse, and if you really want to take this to the next level, check out my cowboy burger recipe where I cut up and grind brisket, short rib, and chuck together for an unbelievable ground beef blend. And of course, if you don't want to do any of this, prepackaged 80% lean to 20% fat ground.
Don't buy this. This is prepackaged crap that was packed by God knows who, God knows when, with what God knows what cut of beef. Most grocery stores sell freshly ground beef. Buy that.
chuck will work perfectly in this recipe. I'm guessing you're going to opt for this. Next up, I have 2 pounds of pork belly. There's really not a great substitute for this, and this obviously comes from the belly area of the pig. What I'm looking for is that it is bright pink and red in color with no discoloration anywhere and has a wonderful amount of intermuscular fat and a fat cap running through the middle and on the top. Just going to run my knife on the steel a little bit to sort of recreate that edge. We are going to cut this in the exact same
Okay, I've never seen
way
pork
as the
belly.
beef. We want to fine mince it.
Okay, I've never seen pork belly like that. And I've seen pork belly a lot. It looks like bacon.
So thinly slice it, julienne it, and then finally mincing it, running your knife over 1 or 2 more times, again, until it resembles ground pork. Instead, they are fine minces. But if you don't want to do any of this, yes, you can absolutely purchase prepackaged ground pork, no problem.
I just started an anti-inflammatory diet, and at first I was nervous I wouldn't have a ton of options, but Hungry Root made it so easy.
Going to wash the cutting board up one more time with soap and water. Now let's head over to the cooktop with the minced beef, and I have a 10-quart or 2.5-gallon rondeau pot. You need at least a 2-gallon or 8-quart pot. It can be stainless steel or a Dutch oven would work fantastic. Now I'm going to add in 3 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm turning the heat to high until the oil begins to lightly smoke. Then I'm adding in our minced beef. And of course I'm going to be using a wooden spoon. I'm making an Italian sauce. You got to use a wooden spoon. Immediately spread the beef all over the pan, completely covering it. That's why I love the rondeau, because it has such a large surface area. We are going to let it cook for exactly 2 minutes. Then we're going to come back and give it a stir and cook it for maybe 3 to 4 more minutes, or until the minced beef is completely cooked and has a little bit of a sear on there. That little Maillard brown crust we're going to get on there is just going to further enhance the flavor of our sauce. We're going to set all the cooked beef to the side in a bowl, return that pot, and grab your minced pork. We're going to add it right in there. Now you're going to notice that I'm not going to add any additional olive oil. This pork belly is going to render a good amount of fat, which we're also going to cook some vegetables in. So just like the beef, spread the pork out as best you can, covering all the bottom of the pan. Let it cook for exactly 2 minutes. Come back and begin to stir everything around. Now what we want to do to render all this fat is turn the heat down to low medium. It's going to take about 10 to 12 minutes for this to happen. In the meantime though, we can get to prepping. I have 2 large yellow or Spanish onions. You could also use sweet white or red, although I think yellows are best. I want
Don't remove the butt of the onion until you're done
to finally mince
slicing
these.
it.
So after I small dice
Now, actually, in truth, another thing, big help to keep you from crying is make sure you're cutting onions with a sharp knife.
them, I'm going to run my knife over 1 or 2 more times to have a nice mince. This will come to a total of about 3 cups. We're going to add it to the bowl, head over to our cooktop. Let's have a look at our pork. You can see it's rendered a good amount of fat. This is gold, my friends, because we're going to cook the vegetables in there. So let's swap out the wooden spoon for a slotted spoon, take all the pork belly out of there, and just add it to the bowl with the cooked ground beef. Now returning back over to our pan, again, remember over low to medium heat, add in all the onions, and we are going to take the time to caramelize these up. This is going to take 45 to 60 minutes, and after those initial first few stirs, we're going to turn the heat down to low. Great timing though, because we got a few more things to prep up. I've got 3 medium to large size carrots. You can peel them or give them a really good rinse. I slice off the ends, slice them in half. Then what I want to do is thinly slice them, then take those slices and thinly julienne those, turn them, and then small dice them. And just like the beef and the pork, I'm going to take my knife and run them over 1 to 2 more times until I get them as finely minced as possible. It does not need to be perfect, okay? And you'll get roughly 2 cups of these fine minced carrots. I'm going to take a quick pause here and check on my onions. I like to come back every 10 to 15 minutes, see how they're doing, and give them a quick stir. Heading back over to my cutting board, I have 8 ribs of celery in the exact same manner of the meat and the carrots. We want to finely mince these up. So slice them in half, thinly slice them, then turn them and small dice them, running the knife over 1 to 2 more times to get a nice fine mince. Perfect. And you should get about 2 cups of this celery after it's finely minced. If you're plus or minus a tablespoon or 2, do not sweat it. It's no problem. It's not going to alter the recipe in any way. And if you want to, you can add the carrots and the celery straight to a food processor and save a ton amount of time. That part is up to you. But regardless, I'm going to add the celery right to my finely minced carrots into a bowl. Next, I have 4 total garlic cloves. We're going to give them a smash, a fine mince, set them to the side. The chopping is done for now. We're heading back over to our cooktop. We're gonna give them a stir. They're nice and golden brown. It's been about 15 minutes. Give them a try. They are fantastic. And hands down, a really big chef tip is to take the time to caramelize these onions. The flavor that will come from it is excellent and will further enhance the overall taste of our ragu. It is so important. This is a weekend recipe, a Sunday sauce recipe. This isn't something you try to throw together on a Tuesday, okay? And remember, sauce gets better with time, but
I can handle the grind, just not cooking. Factor changed that. My life is always busy and dinner is a struggle. I'm either ordering takeout or eating the same boring meal.
The time to caramelize the onions. I can't say it enough. Now let's go ahead and add in the celery and carrots. We're gonna bump the heat from low up to medium. Then what we wanna do is just give it a light seasoning of coarse salt and freshly cracked black pepper, help draw out some of that moisture and enhance the flavor, of course. Then we're just gonna saute this for in between 10 and 12 minutes. We want the vegetables to be nice and tender. At this stage, we're gonna stir in the garlic. It's only gonna take about 30 to 45 seconds for the garlic to cook, or once it becomes fragrant and you notice the smell, it's done. Again, try it. Make sure you're at the right stage. They should be tender with a
I will say that's another important thing. Taste, 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 taste.
very small bite.
Yeah, except YouTube doesn't work if you have ad block.
To it. Now I'm adding in my cooked minced beef, minced pork. We are gonna stir this in until the vegetables and the meat are completely combined. Now for a game changer. Got a few things to add in here. 2 bay leaves and then 4 whole cloves. I'm telling you, do not skip these ingredients. The smells and flavors that come from these just remind me of my grandma's sauce. Incredible. Stir those in, and then it's time to deglaze with wine. You definitely have options here. A good dry red wine like a Merlot, Cabernet, or a Sangiovese, or even a white wine is fantastic. Make sure it's dry, a Pinot Grigio, Chardonnay. You be the judge here. And I'm going for the red wine. I'm going to add in 2 total cups. We want to cook it down until sec or almost gone and absorbed into the other ingredients. To do this, I'm just going to crank the heat on to high. It's going to take in between 4 to 5 minutes for it to be absorbed while frequently stirring. And speaking of stirring, you better check yourself because every single person puts their other hand on their hip while doing this. Definitely don't forget to notice this the next time you're hanging over a pot for a little while. It's hilarious. Alrighty, the wine looks to be absorbed. You can't see it anywhere. Now it's time to add in some tomatoes. I love San Marzano tomatoes. They're nice and sweet, not too acidic, and to ensure they're from the San Marzano region, it needs to say DOP on here, which translates to Protected Designation of Origin. Of course, regular whole peeled tomatoes will work as well. I have 2 28-ounce cans, which I'm going to crush by hand right into the pot with the beef and the vegetables in there. Then once they are all crushed, I'm just going to pour the remaining juice from the can in there, and then immediately add in 1.5 cups of good beef stock. I've got a fantastic homemade recipe if you want to check this out. Obviously, you can see that this is going to make a lot of sauce. There's a lot of prep, and this takes a minute to make, so I want to ensure I can enjoy it for several meals. So freezing any leftovers is an awesome option. I'm going to stir all of those ingredients together until they are combined. And honestly, at this stage, now that everything's together, I'm going to put my spoon in there and give it a little try. I have to. And the smells in here, seriously, already incredible. Now, don't forget to taste things throughout the process to know where you're at. Making sure the vegetables are tender, that it's properly seasoned. Also, it helps to enjoy the cooking process, okay? Sometimes when you're stirring over pot for 3 hours, it can get really mundane, but if you get to taste things, you get to automatically start to see like, this is going to be a very good sauce. And the smiles that are gonna come from this around the table are going to be epic. That's why we do this. That's why we cook for smiles. And this sauce is going to do that and get some amazing conversation started around the dinner table. I'm going to grab a spatula real quick and run it around the outside of that pan. There's all that fond, that goodness that's been cooked on there. Let's put that into the sauce because why not? Adding a lid, simmering over low heat for about 3 total hours. And I'm going to come back every hour just to give it a little look, maybe try it out a little bit, see where we're at. Starting to cook down, fantastic. Then after that 3-hour total time period, I'm going back over there. It's nice and cooked down. It's thick, amazing. Now I'm going to blow your mind a little bit. If you've never seen this, I'm sorry. I'm adding in 2 cups of whole milk. You could also use half and half. This is going to add an incredible amount of richness to our sauce. Is it good?
done that.
Stir it in there until combined. And this next part is optional, but I'm going to add in 1 sprig of fresh rosemary. You could also instead use 6 to 8 leaves of fresh basil. I'm going to give it a light season with coarse salt and fresh cracked black pepper. We're going to give it a quick stir and let it cook for between 60 to 90 minutes over low heat and let those flavors concentrate even more. All right, we're getting close here. Just a little bit more time. And whenever I think of sauce and pasta, I always think of serving it up with a delicious salad. And no one made better salads in my family than my grandma or my aunts, especially Aunt Carol, the best dressing around. I'm going to run out to my garden and grab a few things, and I'm going to show you how I make an Italian-style salad, Chef Billy Parisi style, of course, to serve up alongside this amazing bolognese sauce with pasta. It's definitely the tail end of the garden season, but hey, I've got a few cucumbers, so I'm snagging some of those, and the fresh San Marzano tomatoes are still booming, so I'm grabbing those as well. I'm going to be using romaine lettuce, just giving it a quick rinse, and then I'm just going to
That's something I don't really do. I probably maybe should, but I've heard growing tomatoes is a pain in the ass.
Chop it. Now, if you don't plan to serve this salad for several hours, I recommend just tearing it by hand because it cuts along the natural veins of the lettuce and will decrease the browning that can take place from oxidation. Next, I'm going to julienne 1 red bell pepper. Then I'm going to make quarter cut slices into about half of that cucumber, doing the same knife cut for 6 of those San Marzano tomatoes, adding them to the bowl along with a few sliced red onions. All of these ingredient amounts are completely up to you. In addition, I'm going to add about a half cup of sliced pepperoncinis. Then I have a quarter cup each of Castelvetrano and black olives we're going to add in there. Then I'm just going to put it in the refrigerator until I'm ready to pull it out and serve it.
Goodnight's nighttime underwear helps keep kids dry with 40% more protection versus leading training pants.
And now we have a little bit more time, so let's talk pasta. You can absolutely roll out fresh. I've got a great homemade recipe for you. And I like a wider pasta, like a pappardelle. And if you don't want to use fresh, you can absolutely use a good dried pasta. And the type is completely up to you. Maybe you like angel hair. You be the judge. It's been about 75 minutes or so. I'm heading back over to my pot, giving it a stir. It is so thick, rich, and delicious. I'm adding in my final seasonings of coarse salt and fresh cracked black pepper, mixing them together and having a taste. Yep, it is right on. Now let's cook the pasta. I have a large pot of boiling salted water. I'm adding in my pappardelle. Now fresh pasta usually takes in between 90 seconds and 2 minutes to cook. That's it, but you're going to need to frequently stir it so things don't get stuck. Going to drain it, and then to toss the pasta, I'm adding it to a large 12-inch stainless steel pan. Honestly, any pan will work. Then what I'm going to do is add on a few ladles of my bolognese sauce. And because I want to, I'm going to sprinkle on a little Parmigiano Reggiano right over the top. Then using that same spatula, I'm going to mix everything until it is completely coated. So much goodness. Now, to me, this is comfort in a pan. This is what I grew up on. Takes me right back to my childhood. The flavors, the smells, everything. Using classical cooking techniques makes amazing food and always the best memories. Let me show you how I played up this pasta bolognese and, of course, my Italian-style salad. Now, you can serve up this pasta bolognese on a plate or in a bowl. You can absolutely be the judge, but I like to spoon on a lot more of that sauce. Gosh, is it rich and delicious. Then I'm going to finish with a little more Parmigiano Reggiano and onto the salad. I'm going to sprinkle on 1 teaspoon of dry oregano, then season up with coarse salt and fresh cracked black pepper. I'm pouring in 3 tablespoons of red wine vinegar to the outside of the bowl. I'll explain in a minute. Then a quarter cup of extra virgin olive oil to the outside of the bowl. Then using a large fork and spoon, I'm going to completely mix the salad with the dressings around the outside. It allows for all the vegetables and leafy greens to be completely coated in that dressing. Then I'm just going to serve it up in a bowl and finish it with a little more fresh grated Parmigiana. And I can't tell you how much it means to me to be able to share this meal with my family and friends. Being able to connect with them, hear about their day, know what's going on in their lives is just so important to me. This is a good thing, and I hope I get to do it a lot more often.
Yeah, that's good.
Call your family, call your...
All right. All right, let's do this from the Barbecue Pit Boys.
Today we thought we'd show you how we do prime rib at the pit. You gotta check this out.
We got a couple prime ribs, 6 pounds a piece.
Okay, so about $100 a piece.
Very nice.
What the hell are you doing to these poor prime ribs for 3 days?
These on a rotisserie in about 3 days. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a little oil on here as a binder. And oil everything up good. And we're going to put kosher salt all over both pieces. Pitbull and fancy steak spice.
The method we're using here to cook these ribs is called dry brining, all right? And you use salt, a liberal amount of salt all over the roast. And here we're adding a little more seasoning.
I mean, okay, it's your fucking... Why would you need to brine fucking prime rib?
It's a fancy steak spice. It's got some black pepper. It's optional, all right? Get it all over these roasts.
And that's about it. We'll put this back in the refrigerator for 3 days, uncovered.
Uncovered for 2 or 3 days in the refrigerator will help tenderize and give you the texture you want. Because of the rotation of the spit, the internal moisture and juices of that beef go nowhere. They stay.
Okay, no, actually no. Now that Christmas is over, yeah, 6 pounds of prime, at least in Minnesota, would be probably about $100.
Inside, and keep it incredibly moist during the cook.
That's important. Yeah.
There are a number of manufacturers who make these spits, all right? And they're quite affordable. And trust me, you cannot get a more tender piece of meat than you can get off a rotisserie. Right down the middle.
All right. It's good enough to eat.
I think so. I like mine rare. Look at that.
Perfect. Now we're going to tie this up.
Yes.
Just to give it a little bit of extra insurance that it stays on the spit.
Now, using a string like this will help keep the shape of these prime ribs, because as they cook, the muscles will relax. So this is the trick in how you do it. Just put a slip knot on there, or your favorite knot. Oh yeah. Looks good enough to eat already. Some of you might be noticing that after 3 days of dry brining, the size of the roast has kind of shrunk a little bit. Your refrigerator is a dehumidifier, actually, right? So it extracts some of the surface moisture of the roast out.
Look at her, using pull-ups training pants just like undies. I'm so proud.
I'm a big kid now.
I got this old thing and the bill from the store where I got it. Figured you could beat it with a better deal on one of the...
Oh yeah. Now, let's get the fire going. To make it easy to monitor
Okay, how many fires has that goddamn chimney done?
the internal temperature of these roasts, we use these meat temp probes. They're Bluetooth. You've seen them. Prime rib, baby.
Alright, water fan.
Throwing it on a trusty Weber spit. Oh man. You getting hungry or what? Man.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough. I like mine rare. Come on.
I gotta check the balance.
All right.
All right.
Oh, perfect.
Check the balance.
Yeah, okay, check. Always check the balance. Make sure.
Well.
Okay. And that's what he's doing.
There we go.
And doing this takes the strain off that motor, right? Because being balanced.
That's it. It takes up the extra. It levels it. It levels the weight all out.
Yep. Oh, yes.
There we go. Perfect.
Nothing left to do now. Just sit back.
Perfect. It's hard when you got this much more distance with these things.
One of the best things about hanging at the pit is watching the meat cook. It's real easy to do.
All right, need another beer.
Now we have a grill temp of about 250 degrees Fahrenheit. During this low and slow, it's going to take about 3 or 4 hours, and it's done.
Let it rest for a
Right.
while.
So we got an internal temperature of about 120 to 125, which we got off the Bluetooth temp probe.
Perfect.
So we are at our target. Oh yeah. Take a look at that. Whoa. Now, we want it to rest maybe about a half hour or so until the internal temperature raises to about 130 degrees Fahrenheit. All right. I say it's time to eat.
I'm gonna do a double take on the temp. I'll just get. There it is. All
right. Now remove the spit from these roasts.
Oh, there she is.
That's so beautiful.
Damn. This is what it's about. Ooh. So we only got 2 pieces. One for two.
This is one for you and one for
Thank
me.
you.
Okay, great. Great video. All right, yeah.
Great video. Thanks for sharing, guys, everybody. Thanks for showing, guys.
Thanks for the pizza.
See you next week.
Yeah.
I got my serving.
Yep.
Hey, Martha. We be eating good tonight.
Oh, that was beautiful.
All right, that does look pretty good.
Yeah. I think it's the way the slices are, right?
Yep.
I assume they're making a gravy.
Right down the middle.
Or an au jus.
Beautiful.
Okay, their steaks are the size of roasts.
Perfect. Medium rare. As this cools down, you'll see a lot of that red come back intensely. And you can see that.
Huggies Front Blowout Blocker versus chocolate syrup.
Oh, we got enough for 4 people now. So what are we going to do with the rest of the guys? I don't know.
The cameraman's gonna have to video us.
For any of you Vegematics that are still watching, no, that is not blood. That's it's myoglobin. It's a protein, or an iron-rich protein. It
Yeah. Blood is not carried in meat. Blood is carried in veins.
just looks like blood.
Save that bone. I'll gnaw on that.
I have no idea why I'm getting all the fucking diaper ads.
All right.
I will gnaw on that all night.
That's mine.
You know, that's gnawing bone right there. Oh, Ward's got the gnawing bone.
Look at that. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Oh, look at this.
Sorry, camera guy.
Yep.
Hey, there's 3 more left over here. I might be able to grab one. I picked Ridley.
All right.
Gonna mix some sauce. Grab my own delay, baby. Show you who's boss. Got mesquite in my hair, baby. I don't care. Gonna butter some biscuits.
Melt in your mouth.
Well, that looks absolutely fucking delicious. Where are we at? What the hell? One more. Penne bolognese.
Yeah, see my fit, it's a fit. Yeah, I'm fit. Take a flick. See my fit, it's a fit, it's a fit.
Espresso designed to fit your life, whatever your life looks like. The Espresso Collection by KitchenAid.
We're making the most delicious penne bolognese. And if I was a betting man, I'd say, regardless of who you were, this was almost guaranteed to get you laid. Buona giornata, amici. Good day, friends. And a good day it will be. Look, a bolognese made correctly, and it's really very simple, is one of the most luxurious pasta sauces ever. Yes, ours will be with simple ground beef. Yes, ours will be with a handful of other ingredients you probably already have. But the sum of its parts is greater than the whatever the hell. What is that expression? The sum of its parts is greater than the whole? Is that it?
Well, let's see. I watch exactly 0 coffee videos, and yet I'm getting ads for a fucking cappuccino maker.
I don't even really get that, because the sum of the parts is the whole.
What I'm trying to say is that, yes, they're simple ingredients, but together and the way we're going to make them, they're heavenly. They're absolutely heavenly, so we should not waste any time, should we, Max and Chance?
Hell no.
Let's get right to it. We start with our vegetables that you could just chop and put in the pan, but I kind of like it when they're finely minced. We're going to use a processor, so they sort of melt and disappear into the sauce. Fuck, this is, I gotta turn that off, man. It's just too much. This is the beginning. Onion, 1 sort of medium onion, 1 stick of celery, 1 carrot. We're gonna give them a rough chop and throw them into the processor, like this. And in. We Put the lid on and we process. As you often have to do, we now use the technical word and scrape down. It climbs up the side. Sometimes whatever you're processing just climbs up, and we continue.
What the fuck are you making? A goddamn paste?
There we go. Beautiful. Look at it, it's gorgeous. This combination, carrot, celery, onion. Spanish is called sofrito. In French, it's a mirepoix. The great Emeril Lagasse used to refer to this as the Holy Trinity. I think this is what he called
No,
it.
a Holy Trinity has green pepper instead of carrots.
Holy Trinity. So we'll now take our sofrito over to a hot pan, add a little oil, and in it goes. This gets cooked about 5 minutes. I'm on like medium-high heat. We just want to enhance the flavor of these vegetables before we do anything else. You can see it's starting to change color a little bit. Just give it a little mix. Ooh. Look out! That camera's about got a face full of sofrito. We just looked it up. Apparently Emeril's Holy Trinity is onions, celery, and bell peppers. Nice smell. This is one of those dishes that you should make when you're in a shit mood because it's slow, it's loving, it's methodical, and the end result will make any bad mood go away. So when the carrot, onion, and celery are dry like this, we add our next ingredient, which starts with a little splash of oil, because I love that, and we add garlic. 2 cloves. As usual, we wait for it to get very fragrant, and when it does, I know I repeat this a lot, but I just want you to get it 35, 45 seconds later, a minute, then we can mix it in. Smelling amazing. Smelling amazing. Next up is our beef, so I like to push this stuff over. Little splash of oil here, and then we'll drop in a pound of ground beef. Start to flatten it out a little bit. We're cooking it. Doesn't have to be cooked all the way through because it's gonna simmer away for about an hour. So if it gets a little color right now, that's only gonna develop more flavor. And in the end, you'll be happier. You can flip a bit. And once I flip it, I start incorporating our vegetables. Our not Holy Trinity. The goal with the beef is to break it up.
You made a mirepoix.
You want it pretty fine. And when most of the color is out of the beef, a little pink is still fine. We add one of the fun ingredients. Well, they're all fun. And this is a half a cup of white wine or vermouth.
Vermouth? That I've never used. Maybe I'll have to give that a try. I have vermouth.
A little mixing, a little stirring. And we're just waiting for most of the liquid to evaporate. Or as they say in Italian, evaporare. Or something like that. Wow, I love the smell. Love the smell. And with most of the liquid gone, you can see there's virtually nothing left. We add our next set, which is 1 15-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, 3 tablespoons tomato paste.
Alrighty.
Okay, maybe that was more like a 1/4 cup. I overspooned, so sue me. 2 cups of beef broth.
Isn't 3 tablespoons a 1/4 cup?
Yum. A couple teaspoons of dried oregano. I love dried oregano. Teaspoon red pepper flakes. That looks about right, right? Why am I asking? Why do I ask you guys? Last but not least, 3 tablespoons balsamic vinegar. And we mix. Mix well to incorporate. And when you've mixed everything nicely, stop spilling, Sam. For God's sakes. Yeah, we lost a subscriber the other day because I said, "Oh my God, is this delicious?" too many times for him. Sorry, guys. I'm not anti-religion. But when I say, "Oh my God, is this delicious?" I'm meaning, Oh my God, upstairs, the guy I talked to, let me say, this is delicious.
Oh my God. Do you really think that if there is a God, he gives a shit?
So here's what we do. It's all mixed in. It's lovely. Little bubbles are cool. We want it to simmer. We don't want it to boil. And we're going to let it simmer for an hour. And you're going to see the magic at the end of that hour. Just a little bit of this action is fine. Nothing too crazy. This is really about low and slow. You want to develop flavors, and you're not going to do that after things boiling like a madman. So leave it. We'll be back. You'll see what it looks like next.
I'm done spending an obscene amount of money on takeout every week. Done.
I'm getting back on track with Factor.
Fresh, never frozen meals prepared by chefs.
Our bolognese has now simmered an hour, and it's gorgeous, and we'll look at it in a second. But before we do, I just want to say, I've chosen to do this with beef. You could use pork, you could use veal, you could use all three. And if you don't like beef, pork, veal, chicken bolognese just doesn't have a ring to it, does it?
Well, you could always use lamb.
A chorizo bolognese? No, you couldn't do that. No.
Oh, you could do a chorizo bolognese. That a challenge? You challenge me, motherfucker?
80-20 beef. This, for me, is the way to go. Plus, it's really inexpensive. Really inexpensive. Let's have a look, shall we? Because we only have one more thing to add, not counting salt and pepper, and then we're almost eating.
Well, the Jews, they're not talking about a quick tomato sauce. Like a tomato-based pasta sauce takes about 20 minutes. Alfredo takes about 15. But if you do a carbonara, the longest thing that takes to cook is goddamn pasta.
Look, you can see how all the liquid that was there before, the broth, the tomatoes, everything, is mostly gone. And it's condensed its way down to pure deliciousness. Now, and I know this seems weird, a cup of milk. We mix. Oh, this is just gonna make it rich and fabulous. So, same drill as before. A light simmer, 45 minutes, stir occasionally. And when you see this again, not only will it be done, but our noodles will be ready, we'll be tossing, and we'll be eating like the Romans, or someone, or like San Diegans. Gorgeous. Thank you, Raycon, for sponsoring this video. I spend most of my life on my feet. Cooking, shooting, this kind of stuff, and have it on the market, yet it's only a butt. They're so confident. So just go to buy Ray. And after 45 minutes, look at our bolognese. It's lovely, it looks rich, it looks full of flavor. And I forgot to season with salt and pepper, so I'm gonna do that now. We'll be fine. I should have put it in when I put in the milk, but nobody minds. Nobody will be the wiser. Oh, look. Oh my God. And see right here along this edge, these little grease spots? Man, that's just flavor waiting to become magic with the penne. Well, Maxie, Chancy, only one thing to do. Let's get some penne in it. All right, so in goes our penne. Oh, straight in. One of my favorite ways to do this. By the way, this is the move, and then you serve at the table. Just bring this whole kid to the table. Oh, come on. The smell from here.
Okay, that looks fucking delicious.
I know I talk about that, and yes, probably not fair, but geez Louise. This is amazing. All right, 2 things left, kids. Oh, I wish there wasn't. I want this now, but 2 things left. One is a little fresh Parmesan. And you know I encourage you, buy a good one. This is the time not to buy the crappy little pre-shredded bag of it, because it's just not the same as a nice fresh piece. And you know, come on, tiny bit of green. And that's it. There you have it. Now that is a bolognese penne. A penne bolognese that you can get behind. We come down here, and one of the nice things about the penne-shaped pasta is sauce goes right inside the tube.
That my best friend. She a real bad bitch, got her own money. She had 2-3 drinks.
Because there are tired dogs in your area, there are drivers in your area. Uber.
Bounty is 2 times more absorbent, so you can get more done with one. The quicker picker-upper.
That's what you want.
That's what she said.
That's what you want. That is just deep, delicious, rich flavor. It's unbelievable. Yeah, okay, so it took a little bit of cooking time. And that's okay because the end result is magnificent. Let me share this. This pasta that we just made right here, this gorgeous bolognese with the penne.
Yeah, it looks delicious. What the hell? All right, let's do this, and then I think I'm gonna call the show.
Nous sommes ravis de vous accueillir de nouveau dans notre hôtel. Votre chambre est prête pour votre séjour.
Oui. Earn rewards wherever you book travel. The Autograph Journey credit card from Wells Fargo.
How is Reese Witherspoon still that fucking hot?
Terms apply.
New pull-up surprise pals.
I mean, she's like fucking.
Get a surprise
50.
pal design plus Mickey or Minnie Mouse.
Hey everyone, welcome to my kitchen. I'm Bethany, and today's recipe, I'm gonna be showing you how to make a...
I can't decide if she's hot or not. I've had about 5 beers, so I might be getting some beer vision.
Comforting and flavorful beef stew. This is perfect for when the weather is super cold out, like it is right now. It is so comforting, and we're using really simple ingredients, so it's very easy to prepare. So let's get right into it.
My ad feed's a mess. I'll say that.
Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is get our beef ready for the beef stew. So I have just under 2 pounds of stew meat here, and this is chuck roast cut into small pieces. And I'm just gonna pat this dry because typically there's extra moisture, extra juices. I already patted most of that off with paper towels, but we don't want these wet because we want them to brown in the pan, so just getting that extra moisture off. So big thing with making beef stew, you want these to be a nice size. So thankfully my beef farmer has cut these into nice 1-inch pieces. You don't want them super big because we really want these to become tender.
You have your own farmer? Fuck you!
While cooking in the oven. And if they're bigger, they're most likely gonna be a little tough. So what we're gonna do is put our meat in a bowl. Just find it easier to do it that way. And sprinkle a generous amount of kosher salt to season this, and pepper. Always want to shout out my beef farmer, Bob from Little Ponderosa Beef Farms. I love being able to get really good quality beef. This is not sponsored in any way, but I'm just a big supporter of finding a local beef farmer, especially because the prices in the grocery store for beef are insane. And you just overall will get such a better deal on the price of your beef, but also exceptional quality.
I'm not gonna make that joke.
This is 100% grass-fed, and I know where it came from. Now we're gonna coat this with 1 tablespoon of flour. This is also going to help the beef get a nice browning on it, and then the flour will actually release into our stew and help thicken it a little bit. All right, so after we've tossed the meat in the flour, I have a big Dutch oven pot here heated up over medium heat. I'm gonna put about 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil in this. A nice cooking olive oil. I always use Graza, the sizzle one. And now in batches, we're going to brown our stew meat, but we don't want to overcrowd the pan.
Hey, bitch, you can grab it with your hands. Just get some fucking paper towels.
If you overcrowd the pan, then you'll have the meat steam. And the whole point of browning it is so that we get more flavor in the stew from the meat. So the better the browning, the better the flavor that we'll have in the stew. So we'll just brown these about 2 minutes on each side. All right, so we're flipping these after about 2 minutes, and they have a really nice crust on.
Well, she's got a ring on, so if she'd like to keep the guy that gave it to her, bitch, get in the kitchen.
On them. And my best tip, if you don't want your meat to stick in the pan, because I've had that happen before, is you want to heat your pot up first and then add your oil. That's your best bet for making sure that the meat doesn't stick. But if it does, it's not a problem. You can always splash some stock in there and get it off of the surface of the pan. It'll be nice flavor for later. All right, so after our first batch of beef is done, I'm gonna take it and transfer it just to a bowl. We'll set this aside for later because we have to do another batch of our beef. And you could always set up 2 pots or pans and brown them, but the reason that I do it this way is because I really want all that beef flavor from the browning to be in the beef stew. So that's what you're gonna be missing if you don't brown it all in one pan. All right, so now we'll transfer the rest of our beef back in here. And I'm gonna refresh a little bit of this pan with some oil. I absolutely love beef stew. I feel like it's so nostalgic and it's such a childhood recipe from cold winters that my mom would make. But I've grown to really love it and it's just so comforting. It's like chili. It's just one of those meals that you wanna have when it's freezing cold out.
What do you think about T-Mobile Home Internet only being $35?
I haven't kept anyone in my basement except for that team of cheerleaders, but when I let them go, they promised they wouldn't say anything.
A month.
We need to take your mind off of this. Come check out my new man cave.
T-Mobile's got...
Yeah, I don't get this. Bitch, just grab the fucking meat.
It's great to make a big batch of this, freeze it, have leftovers for later.
I mean,
So after our...
There's nothing wrong with it, I guess, but it's just kind of like, why are you delaying this so much?
Last batch of meat is browned. We'll set this aside in the bowl and get our vegetables prepped. All right, so I've turned my pot off the heat, but what I want to do before it continues to cook and potentially burn the things on the bottom, I'm going to splash the bottom of the pot with a little bit of beef stock that we're going to use later. And my pot is already cooling now, but that way that's not going to burn, and we'll use all of that for flavor. Plus, that broth is all going to absorb with our vegetables.
Yeah, but,
so
but you can't deglaze if the fucking heat's off. I mean, again, I'm not totally hating what you're doing.
First, want to cut up 1 large onion. I generally like to cut all my vegetables really small, especially for soups and sauces. But in this case, for a beef stew, we want some rustic cuts. So I'm gonna dice the onion in just rough cuts, some bigger chunks. That's the nice thing about beef stew. The prep doesn't take long because you just...
All right, her hand placement is terrible.
Roughly cut the vegetables. So I'm gonna turn the heat back on in my pot and add my diced onions.
That ain't diced, sweetheart. That is rough chop. Which for stew works, but that ain't fucking...
That'll take a minute to heat back up, but that's fine. So then the recipe calls for 4 celery stalks, but my celery stalks are so small, so I'm actually gonna use 5. And these are gonna be just 1/2-inch slices, rough cuts again. Add those in. My eyes are already tearing from the onion. And then we have 4 carrots.
Sharpen your knife and don't cut the butt off the onion.
I'm using 4 medium to large carrots. We're just gonna cut these into 1/2-inch slices. If you notice, I never peel my carrots. I just find that so much of the flavor is in the skin and in the peel. And so that's where a lot of the nutrients are. So I never peel them. You can totally peel your carrots, but I think it's more flavor. All right, So now we'll sprinkle a generous amount of salt on there. And then we'll mix that in.
All right, need another beer.
And all those brown bits on the bottom from the browned meat are gonna come off, and just mix in with those vegetables. It's really gonna flavor the stew nicely. I'm gonna
Well, that beef stock she's gonna add has a shit ton of salt in
a
it.
little bit more salt in there. And we'll let these cook for just a few minutes. We want them to soften.
Now again, stew is really fucking forgiving.
And then while we cook those, we'll prep our garlic cloves. We're gonna use 6 garlic cloves.
The Chevy Silverado 1500. And best-in-class standard cargo bed volume.
Okay, so our vegetables are looking great. They've been cooking for about 4 minutes. So now we're gonna add our minced garlic. We'll mix that in, cook it for 30 to 60 seconds. It already smells so good. Just with that flavoring on the bottom of the pan, vegetables, so good. Okay. So now for a little bit more richness and flavor, we're gonna do 2 tablespoons of tomato paste.
All right.
This also adds as a thickener, but it's just really great for developing flavor, especially in this step. We're gonna cook it for about 2 minutes, and cooking it with the vegetables and being able to sear it on the pan, it will just deepen the flavor of the broth in the beef stew. Everybody kind of cooks their beef stew a little bit different. Some add tomatoes, some add tomato paste. I didn't always do tomato paste, but I just thought, why not? Because it's really gonna add even more flavor, and it does. But I don't do whole tomatoes in this. I like it to be a nice, smooth broth. All right, so while the tomato paste is cooking, I'm gonna prep my potatoes. So I have 4 medium-sized potatoes. I'm using a mix of red and yellow potatoes, and I'm just gonna cut those in.
All right, big thing with here versus using like russets is russets you would have to peel. These you do not.
2 quarters.
Just do make sure you wash them though.
Not peeling them.
Remember, potatoes grow in the fucking ground.
They're a little bit bigger. You can just cut them into thirds as well. But the potatoes are great. They make this so hearty, and they're actually going to release a lot of starch into the stew and help naturally thicken it as well. All right, so this is ready to go. So now we're going to add 5 cups of beef stock.
All right.
Then we'll add our potatoes. And then our meat back to the pot. That looks so good.
Now this, a lot of people, is the point where they would add like a good stout beer, which is the only way I like stout beers. As you can probably tell, not a Guinness guy.
But we have to flavor this more. So generally, a lot of people like to use red wine in a beef stew, and I'm all for that. But when I made this recipe years ago, I wasn't really cooking with alcohol. I was actually trying to avoid using it while still having amazing.
Why? It cooks out at like 120 degrees.
Flavor. So if you don't use alcohol, this is a great recipe for you. But we're gonna do 1 tablespoon.
That's why Irish coffees or any cocktail that involves coffee is a pain in the ass.
Of Worcestershire sauce, and this is going to add serious depth of flavor to our beef stew. So you really don't have to use the wine, but you could replace 1 cup of the beef stock and add wine as well, make it even more flavorful. Then we're going to do 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder and 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, just to layer in a little bit more flavor. It's nice to have a concentrated flavor of the onion and garlic too, but just a little bit. Then we're gonna do 2 teaspoons of fresh thyme, and I'm just gonna peel this right off of the stem. Then after the thyme, we'll add 2 teaspoons of fresh rosemary. Both of these just add so much flavor to the whole beef stew. You need fresh herbs in a stew. So we'll toss everything together. Then of course, we're gonna season with a generous pinch of salt and black pepper.
Why do I keep thinking this chick has like a best friend named like Kaylee? That the reason she doesn't want to cook with alcohol is because those two got drunk and fucked her first boyfriend. And he ended up dumping her for her Kaylee.
So now I'm gonna bring...
I love beer brats too, but I'd never drink the beer.
my heat up just a little bit.
That's what I like in my beer. Onions and bits of pork.
To a simmer, and then we're actually gonna braise it in the oven.
Yeah, he's only made 2, and they're from a while ago.
So now that our pot is hot, we're gonna cover...
He didn't do too bad of a job.
...this with our lid, and now we're gonna braise this in the oven at...
Except now he's gone so fucking far left wing that I think he's probably a goddamn vegan.
375 degrees for an hour and a half. And in between that time, kind of halfway through, I like to just check on it, see how the stock is doing. It's gonna absorb a good bit down, but I like to have extra beef stock on
And she's a Christian chick, so that means she's probably a freak.
hand so that I can add a little bit
Freakiest chicks on the planet are the Christian chicks.
Extra in, because it always absorbs a good bit. So
because they're so repressed in their teenage years, they're just up for fucking everything.
We'll braise this for an hour and a half, and then we can enjoy it. Okay, so the beef stew is out of the oven. The whole house smells amazing. Take the lid off. Looks so good. And a good bit of the stock has absorbed up, but I always like to have extra beef stock on hand to just add it in case I need to stretch the meal a little bit or if I feel like too much has absorbed, but you always want to make sure that you salt more if you add more stock. So before we serve this, we're going to chop up about 2 to 3 tablespoons of fresh parsley. This is actually from my garden. It is hanging on in the freezing cold outside, but it's nice to still be able to use some things from the garden. Okay, so now we'll add the parsley to our stew.
Knife work's getting better.
It's nice to finish the stew with just a little bit of fresh herbs. Stir that together. This smells so good, it looks so good, the consistency looks great. So before we do an official tasting, I just want to taste the broth to make sure that it's well seasoned. You always want to taste something before you serve it and then salt it if it needs it. Amazing. I actually, surprisingly, don't need any salt. So I'm now going to serve myself a bowl of this. It looks so, so good.
Now I got toilet paper ad.
Oh boy. Because there are breakdowns in your area, there are drivers in your area.
Got an ad for Uber, which I've never fucking used.
That is so good. That meat is so tender. Oh my goodness. And it has not always been tender when I've made this recipe. That's why I emphasize cutting the meat smaller than you think. It is so flavorful, so hearty, so comforting. And actually one of my favorite ingredients is the potatoes. I just love a potato in a stew. It's just, I don't know, I love the texture of them. This is phenomenal. Has so much flavor. I served this for my family a few nights ago and they all loved it. I don't think my parents had had it before, and they were raving about how flavorful the broth was and just the whole dish. They loved it and they were asking for servings of it after we film, so I'll be sharing this with them. So I made this for my family, but I also made this the other night when I had ice skating. So I've mentioned in other videos that I'm a figure skater, and there's one day of the week that I coach, and so I'm on the ice for a number of hours and I get so cold. I seriously come home and I am literally chilled to the bone. I cannot get warm. And I served this that night. I had it already prepared and I came home and it was just like a warm hug. It was everything that I needed because I was seriously so cold. So it's just perfect if you're...
Well, we now know how she stays in shape.
Literally chilled to the bone like I was. Well, I hope you guys enjoy this one. It is definitely a recipe to repeat through the cold.
By the way, what the fuck do you coach in figure skating? I don't know, because I can skate. I did take skating lessons when I was a kid. I think I should be able to do it. But, yeah.
Winter months. And if you like this recipe, you might also enjoy our chili. That's one of my other staples for the winter time. And if you try this, you can leave me a review on the website. I always appreciate.
All right. Oh, what the hell? Did the fat fuck actually broadcast yesterday? Ricotta.
He's got food in his bowl.
Make that a nice little layer. No. No, we did not. Oh, what the hell? I'll take a look at this. Meat Lover's lasagna. Again, Jake. I've seen your lasagna video. I don't know if I've ever reviewed it, but it's like 45 minutes long, so I'm not doing it today. Layer?
He's a liar. Just fucking random mozzarella that isn't... Fuck it. It doesn't matter. Sure. Let it look like that. Let it look like it.
Jake, it's going into a fucking oven at 400 degrees for like 45 fucking minutes. It's gonna melt, you dumbass. Oh my God. How can anyone live with this guy? His voice is just instantly aggravating.
It doesn't matter. What's the point? Is it burrata?
Then we're going to add another layer of noodles.
What makes this Meat Lovers? There's no love going into this whatsoever.
Don't worry, this will kind of even out a lot more when you put it. Well, your mom said it was very lovely. Put it in the oven and bake it. Don't worry too much about getting everything fucking hunky-dory and...
Hunky-dory?
Yeah, but people always like to see me pissed off, and he instantly pisses me off.
It's crazy.
Even Steven.
Even
then
Steven.
We're going to add...
Don't worry if I'm not capable of making something that makes sense.
Don't worry if I'm a pretentious cocksucker that has been cucked by my wife and I have a permanent anal plug up my ass. Add yet another layer of
Just ignore
sauce.
That. Dude, I don't understand.
Followed by
what?
Another little layer of... Actually, the fact that this is making you this angry is pleasing to me. Of ricotta cheese.
Look at you! Don't worry if it's not... This is...
I guarantee you my lasagna tasted better than yours, bitch.
Folded up. There's just like a fucking bundle of pasta here.
Kind of spread.
What is that? Yeah, kind of spread it. True.
Spread that out.
Most honest he's been. Kind of spread it.
And then you want to add some cheese.
Fuck.
More and more mozzarella. And then we're going to lay down another thing of noodles. Then I'm going to slam down. What's wrong with Canadian bacon?
Okay.
Down some triangles of Canadian bacon.
Mm-hmm. This is awful. Is that mayo?
Yeah. Followed by some more ricotta cheese.
Okay, so watch him spread this out. How do you think that's gonna go? Think he's gonna put his stupid fucking fingers in there to fix it?
Then some mozzarella cheese, if you please.
If you please.
I believe this is the last layer of noodles.
By the way, mercifully.
By the way, still hasn't counted a damn thing that I've said. The return of our Italian sausage pasta sauce.
It's not even, though.
Got a good little layer. It's a pasta sauce with Italian sausage in it. Please, oh great wise one, what the fuck constitutes an Italian sausage sauce, you stupid son of a bitch? On there.
You have a whole bunch of sausage you're not putting in the fucking lasagna because you can't make a sauce.
Yet, never seen you make a sauce.
Should have done half as much tomato sauce for sure.
Last little bit of ricotta to spread around.
This is a disaster. You should be
Again,
embarrassed.
don't worry too much if it's not in this perfect layer. Again, it's
This is dog shit, Dave.
gonna melt.
This is absolute
like crazy.
dog shit.
Okay, I like. So's your political takes, but hey, to each his own. We have a few more noodles to go. Yeah, I like a lot of layers in my lasagna.
I like that he post-hoc decides I like a lot of layers in my lasagna.
That's just me. If you don't want this many layers, obviously, you know, you could probably...
He thought it was the last one, but it wasn't. So then he's like, well, actually, I like a lot of layers, though.
Take a few of the noodles. Jeez, Jake, it's almost like, unlike you, who hasn't made a video in almost 2 years, I did 30 of them in a month. Sorry if I was getting a little punch drunk at the end. Away.
I don't care how many noodles you have in there. It just has to look good.
And we like keeping things. Jake, I'm not cooking for a restaurant. I'm cooking for the home, where flavor is the absolute king. By the way, if you had actually worked in a restaurant, and I strongly suspect that if you did, you didn't work at a mom and pop, you didn't work at fine dining, you probably were the assistant manager at a fucking Applebee's, which is completely different than a real restaurant. You'd know that a plate of food can look like shit, but if it tastes fantastic, no one fucking cares. Saucy here. So more sauce. Now I added another layer of noodles and sauce to the top of this. I think it's just because he lost the password to his channel. That's why. So he can't A, create another one, or B, do one of the 15 ways Google has to help you recover your channel if you lost your password. No, it's his cooking channel absolutely failed. Lasagna noodles I cooked. But again, I like
Guys, this is like if a child did it. If you were like,
yeah, and you're so much more superior than that. You're like if a child wanted to run society. That's what leftist socialists are. They're children because they think impossible utopian things can exist. I mean, one of the funniest things I think I've seen, because restaurants all across the board, all of them are dying because the cost of going out to eat is astronomical. Even McDonald's is like, Jesus Christ. But one of them said, well, a chef should be able to take cheap, and not to mention everything tastes like garbage now because they can't hire chefs. They can't hire enough cooks, so they got to cut corners. So even places that used to be good, like Olive Garden, are using frozen ravioli. But it's like, oh, a good chef can turn, you know, chicken shit into chicken salad. Yeah, well, here's the thing. Applebee's, any chain restaurant you go in does not have a fucking chef. Olive Garden maybe at one point did. That's the only one that I'll throw into the maybe pile. But when you go to Applebee's or Chili's or Green Mill Red Robin, whatever. They don't have chefs. They have cooks. And there's a big fucking difference.
We were like a Make-A-Wish kid, and it was like, okay, buddy, anything you want on your lasagna. He'd go, I want sausage and pepperonis.
Wow. Wow, Jake. Doing the whole Make-A-Wish thing. You really are a sack of shit.
And ham and cheese and cheese.
But I'm disgusting because I objectify women from time to time. But you're going after Make-A-Wish.
And cheese? And be like, okay, you got one last day on Earth. It's all right. You can. You can, dude. John Cena high fives him. Makes him a shitty lasagna. It's gross, but it's okay because they had fun.
If you seriously think that Applebee's has a trained chef in the back, you're either lying or utterly delusional. Or you're just trying to be contradictory because I said it.
I made a shepherd's pie for Christmas. Beef lamb, broccoli florets. A little gamier than I wanted, but still scrumptious. I can do better than that. I just wanted to share some actually good cooking. Let's go, Fighting Hobbit. What brand do I recommend? So are they scared of like having a real sharp knife? Because it's safer. As a person who uses knives all the time, you should be way more scared of your dull ass shit poo-poo knife. That shit'll actually fuck you up. Because it'll slide off of shit and you go and you'll cut and gash into your fucking...
Alright, for once me and Jake agree on something. Dull knives are one of the most dangerous things in the kitchen.
Ham. It'll never happen with a nice knife. One that you should try to keep sharp anyway, but... If you want to,
Jake, if you see this, little quiz for you, buddy. What's the number one way to keep your knife sharp? And what's the number one way to dull them quicker than fucking, well, quite frankly, your videos?
Meeson, I've enjoyed my Meeson knives, but they're overpriced now. Honestly... Is there a kitchen supply place next?
Well, first off, Jake, to get into a kitchen supply place, you usually have to be in a professional kitchen, which you're not. Second off, you can resharpen knives. You do know how to do this, right?
Yeah. You don't have to spend like hundreds of dollars on a nice fucking knife if you're not gonna use it all the time.
No, but about $100 is what a good knife is.
There's those like blue handle fucking chef's knives you get at like GFS that are really good. What you want to stay away from is like anything with like a stupid color printed on it. A lot of those things.
I agree.
These are like fucking basically tin.
No, they're not tin. They're still stainless steel, but the paint can fleck off and get into your food. This is why you also don't buy dyed toothpicks.
Sometimes they'll say like stainless steel or something. Carbon steel tends to be better.
Oh my God. How do you not know the difference? Oh my God. There's a reason every single kitchen knife on the goddamn planet is stainless steel. And it's a big reason. Yes, swords can be carbon steel, but it's a real bad idea to have a knife that's one.
Stainless steel tends to be kind of shit. But like it just depends on what you're using it for. I assume if you're not cooking all the time, I'm trying to find like
yes, it's true. Stainless steel does not get as sharp as carbon steel. However, you shouldn't cook food with a carbon steel knife.
exactly a good one, but I don't know what kind of brand. I have a Meeson and I have I bought Japanese knives. What are they fucking called? I forget. Hold on. What I get? I got. I actually looked on Reddit. Tokushu, maybe. Japan makes good ones, but I mean, like, you don't need that shit if you are just chilling. Yeah. Made a mistake. Nice knives. Made in. Ooh, made in. What are those? Chucky might know actually. What are those? Like the utility knives?
Well, all right. If you maintain your knives, carbon steel's fine. The problem is most people, and I guarantee you Jake's in this group, don't.
They use in like for line chefs. They're easy to clean. They can go in the dishwasher. They have
Oh my god! Oh my fucking god! If you think knives can go in the dishwasher, you are out of your fucking mind. Yes, they can. That's why you're throwing your knife set away. Though. Because A, Jake, you don't know how to resharpen them. And B, throwing knives in the dishwasher dull them faster. Oh my god, you never put knives in the dishwasher. Or any knives you give a fuck about.
Purple handles or something like that.
Again, technically, yes, you can put knives in the dishwasher. But you're going to need to routinely resharpen them.
They're good for everyday use, especially if someone's not cooking, like, fucking constantly. I use Meeson, but there's no reason for you to spend the like price on that.
Okay, you use a good quality knife and you throw it in the dishwasher. Why not just go down to Walmart and get a set of fucking $40 knives? Because that's what your Meeson knives are going to turn into.
Misen. They're nice, but they've risen in cost since I've used them. But you can use like Creator. I guess they're doing a sale, but like if you go to their knives, I feel like yeah. Oh, I guess it's $90. This is a nice knife. I love it. It's $90 right now, and I think if you use like code fucking Brian or something, I don't know.
Well,
use some, find some.
I gotta take a quick pee, but I got a big problem with this website. I'll let you guys look at this and you can figure out what. Now, I want to say flat out, these might be the best goddamn knives in the fucking world. But I got a huge problem with this. Supposedly this is the knife that Jake swears by, and we have 5 reviews, all 5 stars, 9 reviews, all 5 stars. The utility knife, 5 reviews, all 5 stars. And if this is a legitimate knife thing, shouldn't you have a few more? And he's had these knives long enough to dull them because he puts them in the dryer or wash machine, excuse me. And our dishwasher, Jesus Christ, why the fuck am I on laundry? He's had them long enough, and even if you buy like a $40 Walmart knife, it takes about 18 months for the dulling effect, or you know what? I'll be super conservative and say at least a year. The lack of reviews is, well, troubling to me. Like I said, meaning I think Jake bought shit knives. Because knives, and this is my grading system for knives: dog shit, decent, good, decent, Walmart good, like something you just buy from the store, and then good, great, fantastic, on and on it goes.
Cooking channel that you like and support them. This bunka knife is actually a pretty good. That's pretty good, actually. This will do the same thing.
Now, like I said, I want to be completely fair. I want to be completely fair. I'm just going with the lack of reviews and the lack of a few other things. But you know what? I've never used these knives, so I don't know. I'll be fair. They could be a great fucking knife. I'm not a big fan of the 2-pin tang, though. I generally like 3.
I would go with an 8-inch. This 5.5-inch utility knife isn't bad either if you got a small hands. 8 inches is probably where I would go, though. This is going to do a lot for you. This knife set, I have this. I actually have another knife, too, but I have a Sentoku. But I have this. This is really good. A paring knife, a bread knife. Or I use this for big pieces of meat sometimes, too, if I want to shape.
Okay, are you going to get back to me? Or, all right, whatever. Let's just go here.
Do you? Why is that on top?
Coating of mozzarella cheese, and then pop this into the oven.
Why'd you do that backwards?
Everything's ooey gooey and wonderful. Mine took about 45 minutes. So about 45 minutes to an hour. Again,
it's gonna be leather on top.
Adjust
shoe leather.
cooking times for your local
what makes this meat
location.
lovers?
And again, also feel free pepper because I have 3 fucking goddamn meats in it. You dumb son of a
Ronnie ham and sausage.
Free to play with the layers on this too. No, that wasn't ham. That was Canadian bacon. There is, believe it or not, a difference. I thought, to be fair to Jake, I thought ham and Canadian bacon were the same thing. They are, in fact, not. They're close. They're close. But they are, in fact, not. So, I'll see you guys in 45 minutes. All right.
Did you put the Budweiser there for a scale?
No, I just put it down. 45 minutes later, and now you should be looking at something that looks a little bit like that. And that is Meat Lovers Lasagna. Perfect for your Christmas Eve dinner.
I love that your Maker's Mark burger is just pouring Maker's Mark on a burger, which makes it look awful. Hilarious.
That's a cartoon I used AI to generate.
These AI things are so bad. This looks like shit. He's not going to cut into it, of course. He's not going to show us.
And don't forget to have it with the cold one.
No fucking chance.
All right, so that's Meat Lovers Lasagna. Done.
Yeah.
Yeah, geez, it's almost like I didn't think to do that. I remember a few cooking videos of yours that you didn't cut into. All right. Well, that's the show. Well, a little bit longer than what I wanted. But hey, we were all just having fun. All right, until next time. Good night, everybody.